So today we got Octopath Traveler, the first one, versus Is 8, Lacrimosa of Dana. Two of the most beloved JRPGs in the past 10 years. They're still getting a lot of attention. They're still getting a lot of love nowadays. Both have become such a big deal. Is 8 is the one that revitalized the franchise. It was dead before this and made it extremely popular. Octopath Traveler was a big deal and it's a very influential game, but Is 8 also became very influential and it's a very beloved game. Hong Luong says Is 8 wins. Only because the character interaction is better, also their objectives align better. However, in Octopath 2, the interactions have been improved as well as the motives. Well, we aren't competing Is 8 versus Octopath 2, it's versus Octopath 1, and I kind of agree. When it comes to character and party interaction, Is 8 is a traditional game. While in Octopath Traveler, the characters barely talk amongst themselves, and it's like they ignore each other and they're just fighting by their side, just for the sake of it, you know? Yeah, so I agree with that point. Michael Thornton says Is 8 for me. I feel that the narrative, characters, and map was compelling, and I feel that the battle system was what action RPGs should strive to be. I will say Octopath is amazing, but Is 8 wins for me. Okay? So you think Is 8's battle system is like the epitome of action RPGs. Okay? JA says Octopath is grindy, has random encounters, bad voice acting, and the characters don't even interact with each other or their stories, but the combat is very fun. So that means you're choosing Is 8, okay? I agree with everything, but bad voice acting, this game has one of the best voice actors of the generation, you know, but that's just my opinion. To each their own. You didn't like the voice acting, that's okay. Lou says I voted Octopath 1. Though I love Is 8, Octopath 1 led a revolution with the introduction of HD 2D. I agree with that. Is 8 is not the first fast-paced action RPG. It only improved what Is 7 did. I couldn't agree more. I'm a big fan of those games, of both games, man, but yeah, that's a really compelling argument. So going back to Donsk, he says I like better turn-based RPGs and I like grinding, but Is 8 is better in character and story, at least for me. Octopath has a nostalgia factor for me. Is has Dana, a tough one. So a waifu, okay. Well, you don't like Primrose? What better waifu is there besides Primrose? Kevin says Is 8 wins, but for real, Is 8 has great character dynamics. For Octopath 1, from what I saw, it felt like the characters in your party were just along for the ride and there's no chemistry whatsoever. Okay? So Is 8 wins for you because of the character interaction. The Disaster says, I love action games, but Octopath Traveler had better voice acting, art style, and it's unique because it introduced most people to HD 2D. So another person praising the influence of the game and what it did, what it achieved in the industry. Metal Wolf says Octopath Traveler 1 HD 2D is amazing art style. The battle system is deep and very rewarding once you use your character jobs and skills. The chapter story is also short and sweet. Okay, so it gets to the point, it's more traditional, and yeah, the battle system is really deep. I agree with that. Space Kabuki says Is 8 wins. Is has such a clear identity, incredible soundtrack, great fast-paced and tight action, great setting for an adventure. It just feels like it knows what it is and delivers. Wow, okay. Mystery Kid says Octopath Traveler for me. First, because of the combat. Second, the story. Last, if the world and the characters are more interesting, getting to see multiple viewpoints from different protagonists. Wow, so ironically, you are praising the characters in Octopath Traveler, yeah. Even though they don't interact with each other, they do get a lot of development and interaction within their chapters, okay? Shin's RPGs says Octopath Traveler for me because of the battle system. You really need to strategize to break the enemy's defenses, and importantly, it's turn-based. It's very similar to the Bravely series. Okay. Anthony says, I choose Is 8. Octopath is kinda hard and grindy. Is 8 is more accessible and less grindy. I am too busy for grindy games. Yep, that's a fact. Octopath Traveler is a grindfest, no matter what. Kichi Onizuka says, I chose Is 8. Octopath Traveler lost me because the characters have zero reason to be together. We have a very low number of skills and most of them are general among characters, and the animations are minimalist. The animations being minimalist is part of the charm. It's the type of game it is, but okay, if that's your opinion, I respect that. Juan Castillo says, hard to pick, but Is edges it out. Love the story, exploration, and following the connection with Dana. It kept me hooked throughout, unlike Octopath Traveler at times. I had to push through Octopath at times. If all the stories were Primrose level, Octopath may have won for sure. Oh, wow. So if Octopath didn't have 8 protagonists and Primrose was the main character and the whole story revolved around her, it will be your pick? Wow, that's interesting. Smiling Dog says, for me, I have a love for Octopath Traveler due to its amazing soundtrack, 10 out of 10, and have a similar vibes to Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together, due to its setting and certain feel to the battle system. Okay, yeah, it's more on the Yasumi Matsuno vein. I agree with that. That's the end of the poll. Is 8 won with 55%, whereas Octopath Traveler lost with 45%. Wow. I honestly wasn't expecting Is 8 to win, which is my pick. Seriously, people, I was expecting Octopath Traveler to win, it was pretty even, to be honest. 55-45, that was pretty even. One of the most even polls we've seen so far. So, yeah, Is 8 is my pick. I love Octopath, and I think in terms of storytelling, it's the better game. The story in Octopath Traveler is one of the best of its generation of the last decade. It's one of the best stories ever written. Every character is rich with development, rich with darkness, rich with different situations that they go through and make them grow. Whereas Is 8 is just the power of friendship and the adventure and whatnot, you know. Octopath Traveler wins in terms of story, but in everything else, Is 8 wins. I love the battle system in Octopath Traveler, don't take me wrong. I fucking love it. I think it's deep, like some people were saying. It's more engaging, but at the same time, it's a bit more repetitive because it's a grindfest. You do get to enjoy the battle system a lot and to appreciate it, and it's awesome, it's badass, don't take me wrong, but the game's a grindfest. So you do battles over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and you get tired of it. You start developing some kind of love-hate relationship with the battle system. And Is 8 doesn't do that to you. It's action. What I'm trying to say is that I prefer the combat in Octopath Traveler, but Is 8 wins because it doesn't do that to you. It's not a grindfest. And the graphic style, it's much better than in Octopath, of course. I love the graphic style, it's just beautiful, but Is 8 is just as beautiful in its own way. And it's so hard to compare them both because they're different graphical styles. It will be like comparing Chrono Trigger with Persona 5. Amazing graphics, amazing visuals, but they're very different, right? But in here, you know, it's a tie, I can't decide. You guys know me, I'm a huge fan of HD 2D. So I love Octopath Traveler and the visuals, but the scenarios, the scenery, the island itself, the character design, the character colors, you know, it's just, Is 8 looks fantastic, I can't decide. Music, like I was saying before, wins in Is 8. It's just, Octopath Traveler, the soundtrack is a masterpiece, very worth listening to outside of the game, but Is 8 has so many bangers, and it's more oriented to the type of music genres that I listen to in real life. I'm a metalhead, I'm a rocker, you know, I like rock music, metal, you know, punk, you know, I love that, and Is 8 has got you covered in that, and not just in that. Some of the not rockish themes or metal-ish themes in Is 8 are fantastic. You know, they grow on you, and they're awesome. And someone was saying that Is 8 has these Suikoden vibes to it because you recruit, like, castaways that are stranded on the island, and you, even though they don't fight, you recruit them, and it has that Suikoden vibe to it, so that gets points. That's very biased, I know that, what I'm saying, but it wins because of that. And it's such a memorable game. Both are very memorable. Octopath is more influential, but just because it's more influential doesn't make it better. You know, so, yeah, this was a tough fight. I will give preference to Octopath because of it's a turn-based RPG, and I love turn-based over action any day. But Is 8 just has a lot of personality. More personality than Octopath Traveler, and it's just not a brutally hardcore grindfest. It doesn't. Is 8 respects your time. Octopath Traveler, as amazing as it is, it just doesn't. It wastes your time a lot with meaningless battles and a lot of grinding for no reason, no other reason than to make it more challenging. And Ys 8 is a very challenging game, don't take me wrong, right? It's very challenging, especially for a dumbass like me who kind of sucks at action RPGs, but I still prefer Ys 8. It's more balanced, and it's more, easier to get into. But I will say, another thing that I would like to say as an extra is that the replay value. This one doesn't have a lot of replay value. No New Game Plus, so if you ever play this again, you're gonna have to grind again. You're gonna have to go through all the bullshit again. Ys 8 has New Game Plus, you're overpowered, you can even play it on hard difficulty, on the nightmare difficulty to challenge yourself, overpowered, over-leveled, it has more replay value. I'd play this game for the second time any day over Octopath Traveler. That's a really simple reason why Ys 8 wins for me. Plus the other reasons that I just mentioned. So that's my pick, and that's it. Thanks for watching.